Okay, everybody, let's take it from the top.
To all who come to this happy place, welcome.
Hi-ho, everybody, and welcome back to D Plus Us Weekly, the show where we talk about shows exclusive to Disney Plus, episode by episode, week by week, for your enjoyment and ours. I'm one of your hosts, Griffin Snell, Griffin D-Pad, with me as always, the wonderful, the amazing Mr. Mitch George. How are you doing?
I don't know what to do with my life, Griffin.
Yeah, we've had such a great, 8 weeks here, or 7 weeks here. What are we supposed to do now?
I mean, there's nothing. We curl up into a ball and wait for Bad Batch, I guess.
Oh, yeah, that's the next show.
And we got a few weeks.
Yeah, we do.
End of February.
Mm-hmm. Okay, folks, obviously we're here talking about Percy Jackson. The season finale. That's right, I'm calling it season. They'll waste us a series finale.
What does Disney Plus call it?
They call it a season finale.
So that's at least a sign in the positive direction.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, we will get into that. We're talking about the finale. The prophecy comes true. Of course, this is going to be full spoilers for the show, everything about it. Obviously, we have been very high on the show all the way through. There's definitely some criticisms to it that we'll talk about, though. Here, this is going to be both talking about just like this episode and also kind of the show at large. But if you haven't seen the episode, go watch the episode and come right back, because it's going to be full spoilers for everything. Quick pieces of rigmarole. Go check out the regular show. I think our last episode was Echo.
Yeah, that sounds right.
And we'll
Should probably record another one at some point.
Yeah, I actually need to message somebody about that.
Okay.
Our next episode is going to be about Treasure Planet, finally. So keep an eye out for that. Head over to the YouTube channel if you're not already there, youtube.com/@DPlusUs, to catch the video version of our show as well as other stuff that we're putting out there. Yep, that's all the rigmarole I got this week. Yeah. Awesome. Let's talk about this show, because I'm still kind of just in shock from the finale.
Yeah, how did you feel by the end of it? I was kind of whelmed.
I was a little overwhelmed, not necessarily
Okay.
because of the finale itself, but just because that was Lance Reddick's final performance.
Yeah.
May he rest in peace. Yeah, that hit me a lot more than I realized it was going to. I think he did such a fantastic job as Zeus, of this character who cannot for one instance accept that they have flaws, cannot show that to anyone else, and has to, put up that front.
Yeah, that with the limited screen time that he commands every millisecond of it.
Mm-hmm. And I love Lance Reddick and the other stuff he does, particularly his time in Destiny, his time in the Horizon Zero Dawn,
his time in Fringe, because that's where I remember him from for some godforsaken reason. That's the one that comes to mind.
But also as Thordak in The Legend of Vox Machina. This is a man who did so many fantastic roles. He truly was a just amazing person too. It is sad to not have that anymore. And I'm so happy that we got this role from him before all that. From the actual show itself, I liked this episode great.
Yeah.
It's not my
It's going to be
favorite,
interesting
but
to see what they do with Zeus in subsequent seasons. Do you just have him be this off-camera presence?
they're going to recast him.
Should
They've already said they're going to recast him.
Yeah. Really, it's going to be so hard to replicate that presence. One actor came to mind that I could think of that could bring the same, adultness to it, if that makes sense. That gravity, but also that stone face nature that's kind of required out of Zeus. David Harewood, I think, would be a really good fit for Zeus in this series.
That would be interesting. Yeah,
Yeah.
obviously, because there's the whole thing with gods, and the gods can change their image whenever they want. So it's fairly easy to recast. But we're not going to see Zeus for a little bit now.
No,
Zeus.
Is he in the second book? I can't remember.
Zeus kind of fucks off for a few books.
Good. You got time to find the right fit.
But yeah, I really do want to just give credit to Lance Reddick's role. I totally went into this episode thinking that my favorite acting in it was either going to be once again Adam Copeland or Virginia Cole, Sally Jackson. And no, it was Lance. He just does such a good job in those few minutes as Zeus. I love the changes they made this week as well.
I don't know. Jason Mantzoukas is still pretty great. I'm not gonna lie.
Hearing him yell,
great having him back.
It truly is great listening to him yell at campers.
Yeah.
Like it's something we've talked about over the last few weeks or so. They did the casting in this show so damn well. Like, I don't think there was a bad casting in this show.
No, I mean, everyone brought it in a way. I wasn't like, I said this at the beginning, and I still feel this at the end. I mean, it can be difficult having children in a production like this. I do think, similar to other young adult productions, we'll see these actors age into really, really good actors. But even just the first 5 minutes or so, I can't remember how long I actually watched of the making of documentary for this. What are you looking outside for, you dog? You're fine. Just relax. You can sort of see him over in the corner behind the blur. Should just turn the blur off. We'll have dog.
Yeah, but I have him cropped out right now.
Oh, that's even less fun. Child actors, yeah. So they had an on-set acting coach for the kids, which makes a lot of sense. They haven't had a ton of experience, although you look at someone like Walker Scobell, like Charlie Bushnell, they've been in a few productions to this point. Mm-hmm. Some pretty high-profile productions. Maybe less Charlie Bushnell, but I know for sure. Yeah, Walker had that movie with Ryan Reynolds, right, where he played a young Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah, that Netflix movie. That was I can't remember the name of.
But even then, he's only been in just clicking through IMDb. He's only been in 3 productions to this point. So having an acting coach on set made a lot of sense, and I think that these actors will grow into being really, really good actors just given their experience on this set.
Yeah, I really do think that I think they were great all the way through the show. Child actors can really be hit or miss. And I don't think there was a miss for me with this. There were some parts that were maybe a little bit cringy, but I think that is rather the nature of the situation that they're in, and I honestly think that cringe works. Particularly, the time that really comes to mind is them driving the cab out of the Lotus Hotel. And that's gonna be rough for just about any child. Children driving just in general, nonetheless driving stick, stresses me out. That all said, yeah, they're so good in this. Leah Jeffries again continues to just absolutely kill it.
There were some interesting choices, I think, with the writing. Specifically for Annabeth, I think they had the same problem with the movie, where some of the choices are not really what you would expect of Annabeth being this brilliant tactician. Mm-hmm. I do love the scene with her and Luke and Percy at the end. That's the way to do that.
That change was one of my favorite changes this week, and probably one of my favorite changes.
That was the right call.
That sense of betrayal that you can see in her,
and in Luke.
Yeah, Luke's tear going down as he's fighting them. So good. I love that Ares wasn't the final fight here. I love that they did give it to Luke in a way that made sense. One of my massive issues with the Lightning Thief movie is the fact that we have this big final battle with Luke. Because it doesn't make any sense. It makes so much sense in this one. Also pairing it with the flashbacks of them sparring and tying that into the Ares fight at the beginning. It's just really good. It's really smart writing for me. I actually want to applaud most of the changes that they made in this episode. Mm-hmm. I'm just going to run through a quick list and stop me, Mitch, if you want to talk about it anymore.
No, go for it.
Changing the beach that they go to was great. I like that you...
Makes more sense. It makes more sense story-wise. He has to be in New York, so yeah, drop him on Long Island where they have that connection with the beach house. Rather than just a random beach in LA.
This beach house becoming more and more important every episode.
Oh, the damn dream sequence too.
Killed me. The dream sequence is another change that was great. That's unique to this. And that them kind of hinting at the great prophecy that we get, and I want to say book 2 or 3.
I think it comes up in 2.
It'll be really great. I really hope we continue on with that, and that shift to realizing it was a dream is gut wrenching to me. I was like, oh God, oh no, what is happening?
Yeah, the back and forth of, oh God, he hasn't actually found his mom, to waking up and telling his mom about the dream. I'm like, oh, thank God. Like,
It's like,
such a roller coaster in a way that makes more sense for a television production than it would for a novel.
That's another big one for me. We talked about it, but yeah, the betrayal scene of it not being, oh, I'm going to try to poison him with a scorpion. Although apparently Charlie Bushnell did give Walker Scobell a pet scorpion, which I think is hilarious. Them making it though, like he pulls him away, tries to recruit him, they fight. I think it works fantastic, especially in TV format, and that being the longest, most emotional fight of the entire show, I think really works. We got the Zeus stuff, particularly Zeus actually accepting that Kronos might be a threat. In the books, he completely ignores that it's a thing. Poseidon stepping in to surrender and whatnot and having this moment, fantastic. But I think the biggest one, one of the biggest changes we've seen throughout all of this has been them missing the deadline.
Yeah.
It was one we talked about last episode of like, oh, I'm kind of interested to see how this goes. And I think that them changing that is something that really, really worked in their favor. I think it speaks even more to Percy's heroism of being like, nah, it's not about that initial quest anymore. It's about so much more than that. It's about doing the right thing because none of these Greek gods are going to do the right thing here.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what the fallout is of Poseidon just admitting defeat to save Percy in this scene, which, god damn, like,
Percy's call.
The Olympians are shitty parents, but like that was a moment of like pure love and affection, which you don't see from the other gods, to this point at least. Yeah, other than maybe the conversation with Hermes, and I thought that was really great.
Mm-hmm. I love seeing it because like Poseidon gets humanized essentially through Sally Jackson, and you kind of see that a little bit here when he's like he can't answer Percy on "Do you dream about my mom?" because he knows the answer is yes, but he can't say that on Olympus because Zeus will be pissed.
I mean, Zeus is Zeus, so like it doesn't matter where you say it, he's gonna be pissed.
Mm-hmm. It was just so good. Like Toby Stevens did such a good job. Like Poseidon, like if in the books, by the end of the first book, I hate Poseidon. Like he is a deadbeat dad. In this, I'm like, oh no, you did care, you just couldn't. I really like that. I hope that we can kind of see if the show continues that humanism, the more depth in your emotions, watch that resonate throughout the other gods. I imagine starting with Hermes.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, who's to say one way or the other? I love all that. Again, I want to just shout out Percy's absolute call out to Zeus that almost gets him killed. Of like, it's your fault. It's your family.
Yeah, and oh my god, that
so
moment
good.
was just like, well, fuck.
I mean, Percy, if this episode could have any other title, it would just be Percy makes the enemies of the gods. Because he just pisses off anybody and everybody in this episode. Oh yeah, we're going to make an enemy for life with Ares. Oh, we're going to piss off Zeus to the point that he almost kills me.
That's just because Percy's a dick. Like, we've been over this. He's not a good kid. I mean, he's a good kid, but he's just, he's just kind of rambunctious.
He's just very straightforward. He's like, no, y'all are assholes, and I'm going to tell you.
Mm-hmm.
Every once in a while, the New Yorker pops out of Percy, and it's always great. Like, we got it in the underworld when he's like pushing through the line when he's like, only suckers wait in lines. Like, I love it. It's fun. One more chance I want to talk about, and then obviously we can talk about like the different plot points and whatnot, is Alecto in this episode. I'm presuming that the dream actually happened, but him actually passing it off and having this moment with Alecto at the very end, I thought was really unique and really fun.
Yeah, I mean, it worked. She had her mission this whole time, and they help her resolve it with the agreement that Hades will live up to his end of the bargain, which he ultimately does by the end of this episode, even though it happens off camera, which I kind of really liked. So yeah, it's all good.
Yeah, I like that it is this moment though of like mutual respect. Oh, you don't hate me. You were just trying to do your job. Like, I'm sorry I've killed you twice now, but yeah, it's this show just in general, man. I really did love this entire season. I know book readers especially had a lot of issues with this show, with the amount they changed, how quick some things felt, but I really think it nailed it. I really think it did a great job.
Again, we've talked the whole way through. I think this is a fine season of television, and I think that's what we have to look at it and give it its merits for. Where the changes that were made might not have been book accurate, but made more sense in the realm of television. Characters aren't like in the novel. Some characters are damn near flawless, and it's really hard to present that in television. Like the character development in that medium, characters are inherently more flawed, as we need to see that kind of character growth. You can't just have perfect people the whole way through, which is kind of where book readers put Annabeth on this pedestal. And I understand why. I mean, she's presented in such a way in the book for the most part. But to give credit where credit is due, they're kids. They're gonna make mistakes. They're gonna be dumb. And that's fine.
A lot of the book readers are putting these characters like they're at their points at the end of the second series, when we're at the beginning of the first. For reference, in case you don't know, there are 2 series of books that Percy, Annabeth, and Grover are in. The first being Percy Jackson and the Olympians, and the second being Heroes of Olympus. Annabeth and Percy are very different characters by the end of Heroes of Olympus, because they've had 12, 13, 10, really kind of depends, books of character development, and they've grown up. Like, I feel like a lot of times we forget here, they're 12 years old. They're not going to make the smart decisions all the time. They are still children. And I think that is taken into account a lot in this book, and I think it's really, really fun. Also, yeah. I like that they reminded us that Backbiter can make portals, by the way. I kind of forgot about that earlier. I totally forgot that sword could do that.
Again, because it's not something they really touched on in the film.
It's not something. It's that even in the books they mention it. That's how Luke gets away, and then it never comes up again.
And it'll never come up again.
I kind of hope it doesn't. It would kind of just be fun that way. Like I really do think this does a great job, both as being an adaptation and then being its own thing. Like I've had the joy of watching this, every week as a fan of the books. Someone whose life was shaped by those books, and then also watching people who don't know anything about the books watch it and having a really good time with it still. I really think that this is a great Disney Plus show, and it's easily my favorite show on Disney Plus.
I wouldn't go that far, but I don't think I'm as big a fan of the source material as you are. I grew up with it, but I don't think it's as important to me as it is to you, and I totally understand thinking this is your favorite show on Disney Plus. For me, it's hard to overcome something like Muppets Mayhem. I really loved that. I really wish we got more Muppets. Just give us more Muppets.
Muppets. It's an entirely different style of thing, right? But Muppets is up there for me. Andor is still going to be up there. It's one of the best things on Disney Plus.
Definitely.
But this is right there with it for me. I really do think that this show is very special. Even aside from the Percy Jackson fandom in me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to stop drinking things during the show.
Nah, you need water. Come on.
I'm drinking soda.
Well, then that's your problem. Just drink water. Yeah, also, enough. Loki. You're forgetting Loki. Loki season 1.
I don't like Loki season 1.
You're crazy.
I've told you many times, Loki season 1 is crap.
I know. I love it.
You can like bad things. It's okay.
Or even Chippendale.
Rescue Rangers?
That's a Disney Plus thing, wasn't it?
The movie was.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
I mean,
you said Disney Plus original. You didn't say series or movie.
I said shows.
They made a Vacation Friends 2?
Weird shit happening on Disney Plus.
Sorry, I gotta stop. Looking at
Yeah,
Disney Plus.
I genuinely think, like, aside from that, like, this is probably one of the best live or young adult things they've got on there. I think this hits to my love of, like, action stuff and Greek mythology. I love in this that the action is not played out as much as you would kind of expect from a show like this. Because that was one of the things the books is like, action, albeit important, is very quick. It is kill or be killed, and I think that they do a really good job of that with the show. I really hope we see more of this. I can see why they wouldn't. It's very expensive to make, but it did some amazing numbers.
Yeah, that premiere did really, really well. So hopefully that carried out through the rest of the show, and they just keep the momentum going into seasons 2 through 5, and then at that point we'll see where else we go in the Percy Jackson universe.
I know they have started a writer's room for season 2. Nothing has been officially greenlit at the time of recording this, but I'm hopeful. I really do think we could be getting more of this, and obviously we'll be here to talk about it because I love this show. I'll even watch that horrible, horrible movie for you, Mitch.
Hey, you don't have a choice, okay? That's just the way it is. You get that season 2, you have to watch it.
Honestly, I will watch that movie if it means we get a season 2. So
that's big coming from you, knowing how much you hate it.
Yeah, I want more of this. I really think we should get more of this because it's great.
No.
With that, though, that is going to wrap it, Mitch. We wrapped up another show. I have no idea what's next.
Honestly, we probably won't do Bad Batch weekly. I know I mentioned that earlier, but I feel like that's one of those things where weekly we won't have much to talk about, but at the end of it, we'll have a lot to talk about.
Mm-hmm. And it'll depend. The upcoming Disney Plus stuff is a little weird. Typically, when there isn't something we talk about week to week, we'll go back and find something. I haven't had the chance to scroll through Disney Plus yet to look. So,
I know what we should do. Not episode by episode, but maybe, do a season. I guess we'd have to do that every other week. X-Men, we still got to do the animated show.
I mean, we can still do that every other week, or I guess we could do that.
That would just be a regular episode of the show.
Yeah, that should be a regular episode of the show. We'll figure it out, and we'll put it out on the socials and stuff. And when we figure it out, Mitch, where can people find those?
It's all over the internet, wherever it may be. X, which I'm not going to call X. We have to continue calling it Twitter just to fuck with a billionaire with a golden bottle up his ass. YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, at D+us, and all the socials.
Yeah, go check us out there. Go check out all of our other stuff. And until next time, have a magical day.